They met, I think, when, well, they were both at work. They both worked for Bupa. And Sally was his team manager. So he pulled the boss, naughty boy.
Dave actually spoke to me and said, oh, I'm going out with someone from work. And I said, well, who's that then? And he said, it's my boss. So I thought, oh, very good, Dave. Well done. You'll go high up in this company.
The last time I saw her drunk, she told me that if she was a lesbian, she'd want to be my girlfriend. She's really funny.
They kind of disappeared off upstairs together and didn't see them for the rest of the night.
Not quite as nice as the beach on honeymoon, was it?
No.
God, that was a nice beach.
Go on then, do you want to throw some stones, mate? Go on, big throws.
Right. Well done. We first met each other in 1999. We both worked for the same company, Bupa International, and I happened to be his boss.
I've known Dave since school, and we kind of met and we were best mates from about the age of 12 or so, something like that. And then Sally kind of came into the picture when Dave was, I think, in his late teens, if I remember rightly, something like that. And yeah, she picked him up out of his cradle, bless her.
I know Sally through my partner. They went to school together, and I've been with him about 10 years, so I've known Sally for about 10 years now.
He's my little brother. He's a lovely lad, actually, but he used to annoy the hell out of me when he was obviously living at home with me.
She likes to have a bevy. She likes to be one of the boys, but she likes to be one of the girls as well. We've had some really good fun times, you know. I've seen her falling over in the street. She's so plastered. I've seen her crying at mushy films. And you know, and the way she is with Finley, you know, she's a fantastic mum. You know, she's just an all-round fun girl. She's every situation you put her in, she just takes to it like a duck to water. She's fantastic.
Yeah, I saw her and thought, that's nice. I like that. A job came up in Sal's team, and I thought, well, I'll go for that. Not for the reason of Sal being there, obviously. It did help, but and then yeah, went for a job interview, got the job. Sal became the boss, and not a lot has changed since then, really.
She did taekwondo at the time as well, and I think they used her teaching him taekwondo as kind of a way to meet and kind of progress things further outside of the office.
Where did you get that from? I don't remember starting taekwondo lessons.
You didn't, but I would just like show you a few moves or two.
Yes.
That was probably your lesson.
I'd always end up worse off, really. Are ready?
Yay!
What?
Did you see it? Got to try really hard.
Now let's throw you in. Ready? No, got it!
Woo!
The first attraction, as for most men, really, was her body. She was a black belt in taekwondo, so kept fit, trained 4 or 5 times a week, was it?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it for me. It's job done.
For me, it has to be Dave's humour. I've always said this, his humour is like the #1 thing. He just absolutely kills me. Everyone calls him a comedy genius. And I don't think there's any situation he could be serious in, and he just has me in stitches. He's definitely the clown, bless him.
Yeah.
So when we kind of got together, we both said to each other, we just want a bit of fun, a bit of freedom, just have a really nice time, nothing serious. that's an office fling. Let's have an office fling.
Yeah.
And yeah, now we're married.
Sal was very different to any other woman as such that I had an involvement with. And she was slightly older than me and everything, and I thought, well, it's never going to materialise. But I did think, you know, brilliant, you know, this could be it. And yeah, thankfully she thought the same thing after a while, a bit convincing.
Yeah, because I just remember seeing you when you were out on breaks and then going off to lunch and then coming back, and you'd emailed me a few times. And then I think the real thing for me was when I interviewed you, because that was quite tough, knowing you liked someone and that they liked you, but you have to interview them for a job. It was kind of mind-blowing. But yeah, no, you did really well and I gave you the job. It was great.
Yeah.
But I was nervous when I went round to Dave where he was living, because he shared a house with people. And that's when Stefan opened the door.
So he got the house all cleaned up and everything, and there was a knock at the door, and he went up to meet whoever it was coming in, and he brought Sally down, and that was how we met. Initially,
it was while Dave went off and done something, there was me and Steph just sitting there all very quiet. And then Stefan proceeded to tell me how, Dave's been running around the house doing the housework, didn't know what shirt to wear and everything like that. And that kind of broke the ice. And from then I've always, you know, respected Stefan a lot and always got on really well with him.
Me and Sally have always got on, you know, I don't think we've ever had a crossword, we've always got on brilliantly. I think she's great. Hopefully she'll say the same about me.
I was quite worried about meeting your friends.
Really? Well, I really took to Dave when I first met him. Obviously his personality didn't come through straight away, but you know, on the first meeting, you know, sometimes it might be a little thing you think, I'm not sure, but there wasn't, not at all. I liked him the minute I met him, and I like him more and more each time. He's got such a wicked sense of humour, he's fantastic fun, he's quick-witted, he's got a fairly dry sense of humour sometimes as well, and yeah, they really complement each other. They really do, yeah.
Your partner's friends, they know everything about you already, so it's kind of really daunting to kind of meet all her girlfriends. And I met them all at the same time, didn't I? It was a party, wasn't it?
Well, my birthday in Brighton when they came out.
Which is quite intimidating, to be honest, but yeah, a few beers down the neck and it was all right.
They came to our house, and we've got a big dog, big boxer called Scooby, and we were going to go for a walk, take the dog, and he had these lovely cream chinos on, and my dog is happiest when he's covered in mud. So Dave's like this, come on Scooby, and Scooby's charged at him and absolutely covered the poor chap in mud. So, you know, in my book, great guy.
Knowing Dave as I do, and for as long as I have, I could, you know, see quite soon that he was quite smitten, bless him.
After we'd announced that we'd loved each other, or were in love with each other. That big step. And then Dave was moving out, or his lease was up on his property. I owned my own property in Worthing, so I asked if Dave would like to move in with me, which he did.
Mm-hmm. Seeing them together for a few months, it became quite obvious that they were kind of destined to be together.
We bought this house, and within a couple of months of living here, I fell pregnant with our son.
Yeah, Finn. Right, this one, watch it, okay? Watch it. Hopefully it was good. Right,
go
ready?
For
Ah,
I think I always knew they'd be together. You know, Sally had been in a relationship before, David had been in a relationship before. They've gotten to the age now where, hang on a minute now, I want to settle down. I want this to be for the rest of my life. And I think when we found out she was pregnant with Finley, it just put it all in the bag. It completely sealed the deal. They did everything backwards. They bought the house first, or lived together first. Then they had Finley, and then they got married. But we didn't think they'd ever get married.
From the moment I met him, he was completely anti-marriage. Marriage is just a bit of paper, not worth the paper it's written on, you know.
Now, Sally has wanted the big fairy tale wedding since she was a little girl. And David would say, it's just a piece of paper. Typical male response, it's just a bit of paper, what do you want to do that? I ain't going to get married. Whenever it was brought up, oh no, we're not doing that, we're not doing that. And then out of the blue...
The proposal came about one evening. We were out in town.
After a few pints, on the way to a club.
Went down on one knee, didn't have anything prepared, gave her my ring on my hand and went, will you marry me, Sal?
It was outside the off-licence.
Outside. See, that's why you make it sound worse.
Of all the places in Brighton, and they did it there.
And of course she's absolutely, yes, of course she will. He's got no ring, it's the middle of the night, they're drunk, and you know, it really came from the heart.
He's just been worn down, I think, over the years.
He found the right woman and he wanted to marry and settle down with. I was just really pleased for him, pleased for Sally as well.
Oh, way to go, mate. Excellent. Oh. The helicopter. Helicopter. Wow.
Come on then.
Okay, thanks for your help. I absolutely adored every aspect of planning the wedding, but I'm a real organiser by nature, so literally the minute we said, okay, it's the 5th of May 2007, that was it. Diaries came out, the internet came out, and I just went for it, didn't I?
It's horrendous.
And yeah, but you were really good, because I was more than happy to do all the planning for the wedding, because I love the organisation of it.
She's got a list for everything. Everything she does, she has to write a list for it.
I had a planning book, I had a planning diary, we had our post-it notes everywhere. I would even use like part of my calendar at work to keep me organised. I was on the internet all the time.
I didn't really have a job in doing the wedding, even though I was the chief bridesmaid, because she just told me what I had to do, and this was my list, and I must follow it. And I think the boys had one, the ushers had one, we all had our lists.
Like any young girl, I just always dreamt of that big, beautiful white dress. So the minute Dave and I had set a wedding date, well, the first thing I wanted to do was get out in those shops looking for dresses. I've always had in mind what I'd want to wear. And I always knew that I wanted a white dress, and I always wanted like a very princess dress. It had to be sparkly, it had to be glamorous, and it had to have like a hoop. I had to have a skirt with a hoop. I've always wanted a skirt with a hoop. So I went to probably, I'd say 3 or 4 shops, and tried on altogether probably about 30 dresses, and went into a shopping showroom and saw it, pulled it off the rack, put it on, and my mum, who was with me, just cried, and I knew that that was the right one, and I just loved it, and I was like, put a deposit on it there and then. I found a shop in Brighton, and they had these real strappy shoes that had diamantes all over them, so I thought, right, they're a must, really good price, bought those. My bridesmaid, Amanda, she bought me my tiara as a present, which was gorgeous of her, and it was a beautiful tiara, so I felt like a real princess with that. And then my stepdad, he wanted to buy my wedding jewellery for me, so he took me to Brighton down the lanes and bought me a beautiful necklace and matching bracelet. And then my stepmum, she lent me her diamond earrings, so fully accessorised down to a T. My mum bought me a handbag, but I did decide not to have a veil because my tiara was so lovely, and the way I'd chosen to have my hair, I thought I'm not going to have a veil because that'll cover it all up.
Myself, Steph and Finn, we went out to a hire shop to look at some suits and things like that. We knew the colour scheme we wanted, we knew the style of suits we wanted, and waistcoats and things like that. No hats because I couldn't ruin my hair, so I had to be very conscious, tell the people about this. And we went into the shop, and it ended up being someone that Sal's friend from school's mum, who was doing our suits for us. And she was very much, I know what you need, and just bossed us about, which for me and Steph is perfect. You know, we don't need to be making decisions. We're not brilliant at it. It's just kind of show us what we need and we'll do it. So we told her the colour, we told her what kind of suits we wanted. Bang, very straightforward, very quick. Kind of, this is what we're going to wear. So it was very easy, and Finn was just to die for. He just looked amazing. He stole the show because it was all in miniature size. So, but yeah, it was brilliant, really easy.
And for my little bridesmaid, it was a real bargain. I went into Debenhams. They had a dress for £65, lovely and just plain white. And I thought I can dress that up with a ribbon, and took it to till. It was £19.99, bargain.
At the wedding, woke up very early, had Finn with me on that day, and I was staying at Steph's house, so all was good. Woke up, no hangover, so that was even better.
They were both at our one of my wife's flat that morning, getting ready, had the Bucks Fizz. Dave was all right, actually. He wasn't too nervous. I think my wife did a good job of kind of keeping everyone in check, making a full English, that kind of stuff.
Opened a bottle of champagne straight away, so that was calmed the nerves slightly. I was all right throughout most of the morning, and then
probably with an hour to go, his breathing got a bit quicker and, you know, started getting a bit sweaty.
People started turning up, my ushers and things like that, and we had plenty of time. It felt like we had loads of time, and I had to be at the church at
23.5 minutes past 12. Gone to the vicar.
Yeah, but I had to get there earlier for Matt to video us and some photographs to be taken and things like that. And all of a sudden, it was 11 o'clock. And all the boys started rushing around like nutcases going, okay, which suit's mine? Where's my cufflinks? Where's everything? And it was all mayhem all of a sudden. I'm trying to get Finn dressed as well as me, and it was just hectic madness.
Not really much I could do to calm him down. Unfortunately, it wasn't like I could give him a few pints or anything. That was one of my things that Sally told me. I have to keep him sober, make sure he doesn't stink of alcohol in the morning. That's, one of the 10 commandments.
See, for me, my day, I woke up on time, and I'd had all my hair in rags the night before because I was going to have it all with curls and up. So I had to get to the hairdressers quite early. So I got up, had a bath.
I did stay overnight the night before with Sally and her mum, with the two of them bickering about God knows what, butter and dippy things. But it was fun because you could see they were both twitchy, and Sally had her hair all in rags and she looked really funny, and it was a really nice evening.
Then off we went to the hairdressers, and I had my mum and my chief bridesmaid here. My mum stayed here to get ready whilst myself and Amanda went to the hairdressers. We arrived there, they started doing our hair. I think I literally had 2 sips of champagne, so my grand plans for getting up and I'm going to open a bottle of champagne, have a glass, and it just didn't happen like that. The reality was, this is the time, this is what you have to do, this is where we need to be, and that's the way it worked. But it kept the nerves to bay. It completely kept the nerves at bay, because I think if I'd had time to sit there and think about what was actually happening later that day, I would have been a bag of nerves.
It was a real hustle bustle of people. It was fantastic. And I have to say, I think out of everybody, I was the most nervous. At one point, Sally looked around at me and said, "Mandy, you're shaking," and I was. I was like, "Oh, I'm so nervous, I'm so nervous." And she was as cool as a cucumber.
We were actually late. I think we got there. Yeah, we were aiming to get there for midday, and we got there at about 12:15.
And then we made it up to the church, and we'd kind of been through it before, the week before with the vicar, so knew what we were doing.
But from what you've said, I think it probably was more relaxed for me than it was for you, from the sound of everything.
I had 5 blokes to get ready. That's not good.
She was as cool as a cucumber and looked absolutely amazing on the day. She just breezed through it. She didn't have a qualm, she didn't have a problem, she didn't have a worry. She organised everybody at the same time. You know, I'm surprised she didn't give us lists, but she didn't. But she was really on the ball. I was a bit of a mess, and I think a couple of times she had to say, "Are you all right?" and it should have been the other way round, but it was a fantastic, fantastic start to the day.
I think I was actually quite calm, as opposed to my bridesmaid, who was shaking like a leaf. Amanda was just absolutely beside herself with nerves, excitement. She was standing here shaking at one point.
We had to get there a bit earlier to have our photos taken and stuff like that, which kind of broke it all up a little bit and took our mind off things.
For me to get to the church, I was really lucky because a friend of mine that I've known for a long time, she actually has set up her own business of doing wedding cars. So I'd got to choose a car that I really liked, and yeah, it arrived here, took my mum and the bridesmaids to the church, and then came back and picked myself and my dad up and then took us to the church. I don't actually remember the journey that well, although I didn't feel that nervous, and because the church is literally 5 minutes away, you don't have time to really take much more than that in anyway, so I think by the time I got over the fact that I was actually in this car, it was time to get out.
And it was a lovely day. It was in May, beautiful crisp day, sun was shining. They couldn't have asked for a better day with the summer we had anyway.
I think she was probably a quarter of an hour early for her wedding instead of the traditional 5 minutes late. So the vicar came out. I think a couple of guests hadn't even arrived yet, and they had to be snuck in the back door. And the vicar came out and said, "So, all ready to go?" And she was like, "Yep." And I'm 15 minutes early. And he said, "Well, I think out of all the brides I've had, you are the earliest. I've never had one 15 minutes early."
I had to concentrate on Steph for part of the morning, remembering everything, because Steph does forget a lot of things. For instance, I've got to do an example here. Once we went on holiday with Steph and Helen, and they forgot their suitcase. So I'm trusting Steph with our wedding rings, thinking maybe not such a good idea. So I had to concentrate on him having everything before we had left the flat. And then we were late, so I was kind of, it took my mind off everything. So when we got there, I was fine.
So I had to run up the lane and tell everybody to get inside because she'd arrived. And they were still having photographs and such like outside.
And I saw Amanda walk up the path, and I thought the next person that's going to do that is Sal. And that's when my nerves set in, half of my nerves. And then the vicar called me in, and I was like, "That's it, I'm all over the place, that's it." And nerves took over. I was a mess for a little while. Just when you got there, I was all right, but it was waiting for that point of you getting there.
You looked absolutely fine. When I walked in, I didn't know what to expect, and you looked as really calm and collected.
Yeah,
it's
because you were there. It was relief. I was like, she's turned up, brilliant.
Just when I was standing outside the door, I had my bridesmaid and Finley, my page boy, next to me. My dad to the right of me, left of me, and I suddenly took a deep breath in, and the vicar said, "Are you ready?" And I said to my dad, "Just tell me a joke. Just say something, make me laugh." And he did, and that just calmed me down again, and then off I went, and it was absolutely fine. I actually felt really, really calm on my wedding day. I was just full of excitement more than I would nerves, absolutely.
When Sarah walked down the aisle, I just stared forward. I was too... As soon as you hear the music, you know that she's walking down, and you kind of think, do I turn around now or do I wait? What do I want to do? And I kind of decided beforehand I wanted to just wait, and everyone else was going to be looking at her, and I just thought, I'm going to wait and just, as soon as she's standing next to me, look and just be like, whoa. You know that you're going to be blown away because you've never seen your partner in anything like that before. I had an idea of what kind of style she was going to wear, but she was the normal wind-up by saying she's going to wear black or like Vicar and Dibley, Tinky Winky and all that on it. But, you know, as soon as I turned around and saw it, it was just like, yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, brilliant.
In the presence of God, Father, Son and Holy Spirit, we have come together to witness the marriage of David and Sally.
It was really quite emotional. I think I had a few tears in the standing there behind her.
There was a reading in church. There was due to be two. One from Hayley, who's one of Sal's best mates, and one from one of my best mates, Jeff. Unfortunately, Jeff couldn't deal with it. It was too much for him, bless his heart. And he said he'd do anything for us not to do that. So we let him off the hook with that, but Hayley did a lovely reading for us. But it was quite strange because we were facing the vicar, and she was stood behind us, facing the people, the crowd.
Yeah, so when it came to, because normally when you hear people do readings, they stand right at the front. So you'd still get to, as a bride and groom, you'd still get to see your friend or family member read the reading. But she had to stand with her back to us while we had her back. So we only heard her, we couldn't actually see her until we watched our video.
And when you watched them take their vows, you could see the love between them, you could see how much it meant to them. And not only did it make them, you know, man and wife, it really gelled their family together, their whole family, the extended family as well. And it was just a really lovely thing to see, and I'm really proud to be part of it.
I, David Ian.
I, David Ian.
Take you, Sally Christine.
Take you, Sally Christine.
To be my wife.
To be my wife.
To have and to hold.
To have and to hold.
From this day forward.
From this day forward.
For better, for worse.
For better, for worse.
For richer, for poorer.
For richer, for poorer.
In sickness and in health.
In sickness and in health.
To love and to cherish.
To love and to cherish.
Till death us do part.
Till death us do part.
According to God's holy law.
According to God's holy law.
In the presence of God.
In the presence of God.
I make this vow.
I make this vow.
I, Sally Christine.
I, Sally Christine.
Take you, David Ian.
Take you, David Ian.
To be my husband.
To be my husband.
To have and to hold.
To have and to hold.
From this day forward.
From this day forward.
For better, for worse.
For better, for worse.
For richer, for poorer.
For richer, for poorer.
In sickness and in health.
In sickness and in health.
To love and to cherish.
To love and to cherish.
Till death us do part.
Till death do us part.
According to God's holy law.
According to God's holy law.
In the presence of God.
In the presence of God.
I make this vow.
I make this vow.
It's very nerve-wracking.
What's speaking the vows?
Yes. More so that it's not so much the meaning, you mean what you're saying, but you're saying it in front of 60 people. And there's a lot of pressure to everyone's listening to what you're saying more than anything else. And that's the nervous part for me.
Yeah.
Then within 45 minutes, she was Mrs. Ward.
It was the normal bridal.
No, that was out. In, you chose something different.
No, I didn't. It was the normal.
I know what it is. Oh yeah.
I can't remember.
You
What
had
it's
that, and then at the end you had the
bridal march, wasn't it?
Yes.
At the beginning.
Is that not out?
How terrible was this? We can't even remember what
I'll tell you what we played at the disco though.
And I don't think it was until we got into our car, we was on our journey to our venue, that we actually, kissed off of our own backs as like husband and wife. And that was really nice, wasn't it?
In our alone time.
And our alone time, yeah, really good. Weather. We couldn't have asked for better weather, and the nice thing, we loved our venue from the day we'd first booked it. We absolutely loved it, but they'd done all these extras that we didn't expect them to do. Like when we turned up in the car, our guests had arrived before us, and they'd had a big table outside full of like champagne with fruit in them, and then we went onto the gravel courtyard, and there was a guy there with a silver tray, and he had like 2 glasses of champagne, didn't he? And it had like strawberries and melon inside it, and it was just so much more than I actually thought, or what we'd even discussed was going to happen, because we just thought, yeah, we'll turn up and we'll get out a few photos and mingle. But the way we had arrival music, which your brother and our sister-in-law had kindly put together. So we had that playing in the background, so there was nice music going. And there was a big pond there, so all the kids were feeding the ducks, and we had our photos taken.
It was
absolutely stunning.
If it had been a rainy day, it would have been a completely different day.
Afternoon, everybody. Firstly, I might just let you know that I'm slightly nervous about doing this speech. In fact, this is the 5th time today I've risen from a warm seat with paper in my hand. For me, yeah, speech is just the worst kind of thing. I mean, I have to do presentations and stuff for work, but that's not too bad. But when you've got the responsibility of being the best man, there's a lot on you. You know, you've got to have a bit of comedy, you've got to throw a few experiences in there, you've got to make people laugh. It's tough stuff. A few years after leaving school, we did what all best mates do and shared a house. Unsurprisingly, most of that period of my life is somewhat of a blur. And most of the memories I can recall really aren't suitable for this audience. I'll be telling them at the bar later. There is one, however, which is particularly relevant to today. Given that we were 2 young blokes, we weren't really the most domesticated, as I'm sure a number of people in this room will testify to. The stereotypical mountains of washing up and foot-high grass were a common sight, which is why the sight of Dave rushing around with the hoover and polish was slightly unnerving and, to be honest, a little bit weird. After watching him in amusement for about 10 minutes, curiosity finally got the better of me, and I asked him what he was up to. Nothing much, came the reply. Just got someone coming round. You all right there, Sal?
Speech for Steph was the one thing he was panicking about the most, and he was worried.
He done an amazing job, though, didn't he?
Yeah, brilliant. Everything that you kind of would have wanted a best man to say.
He said.
He said it.
Yeah.
And he said it so well. You know, he ripped me to pieces. He complimented me.
As Dave was, as he pretty much is now, Mr. Laid Back, yeah, they can take me as they find me kind of guy. As time went by, he became more and more of a nervous wreck, constantly checking himself in the mirror, watching the clock, and saturating himself in lucky aftershave. Finally, the doorbell rang. This apparently was the signal for Dave to run around like an idiot, swearing to himself. This led to some deep breathing before finally realising he actually needed to answer the door. Despite my best efforts, I was made to wait in the front room. After hearing a bit of murmuring from the hallway, which I can only imagine was another one of Dave's hopeless attempts at charming small talk, Dave appeared back in the room with said date. "This is Sally," he said proudly. With that, they disappeared into Dave's room, not to be seen again for the rest of the evening. In fact, it was a while till I saw Sally again. About 12 hours, wasn't it, Sal?
We wanted the speeches before the meal because we didn't ever want anyone to be sitting through a meal being uncomfortable, thinking, oh, I've got to do a speech, I've got to do a speech. So we said, right, get in there, sit down, speeches, and it worked absolute treat, didn't it? It worked so well. We were so pleased we'd done it that way. And I think, like my dad and Steph and even yourself, we're just grateful that we'd done it like that. Because you wouldn't have enjoyed your meal, would you?
No, not at all.
You've been creative in your planning, and by saying planning, you know, we have the speeches first, which is not the normal way to do it, but it does mean I can enjoy my meal now, so that's quite good.
I don't think I've been to a wedding and heard 3 fantastic speeches quite like that.
I'm so pleased you could be here. It's a wonderful occasion, and I think you'll agree that Sally and Dave have put an awful lot of effort into making this a perfect day.
Sally's dad's He'd put so much work into it, you could see.
All of the speeches, we had my dad, we had the best man, and we had Dave do the speeches. Absolutely fantastic, really, really good.
Success in marriage is more than finding the right person, it's being the right person. And I'm proud to be here to celebrate the marriage of these two people. Not only are they amazing in their own rights, but I think they are the right people for each other.
The reception was pretty drunken, as you should imagine it would be. David and Sally were both drunk. They didn't appear to be very drunk on the day, though. I don't think I was either. I think I kind of kept a level head because I knew it had to be, was supposed to be looking after me. I mean, every time she went to the loo, I had to go with her because she couldn't get out of her dress and onto the loo.
It had taken us the time that it took us to plan the wedding to decide on our first dance.
And the song, yeah.
It was a nightmare. We could not agree because mine and Sal's musical tastes are somewhat
completely different ends, aren't they?
Dave is very much into his kind of rock and R&B kind of stuff, and Sally is just into the most horrible old 80s music.
So to meet in the middle somewhere between 80s and kind of up-to-date music, you've got issues. So we took a long time to decide on our first dance, and I had said one about a year ago that Sal said no to, brought it up a year later and she said yes. And it was like, brilliant.
That's great.
It's a great song, yeah. And it was an Alicia Keys song. Very nice, very romantic.
What was it called?
If I Ain't Got You, Babe, or yeah, is that it? I Ain't Got You, Babe, something like that. I can't remember the name of it, but I know I could sing it for you. And all of a sudden, we were being called up for our first dance. If somebody had said, you've got it in 10 minutes, I would have panicked, I think. But we had had a few beers, so everything was okay. The problem was that Sal's dress was massive. So to try and get close to Sal, it was just impossible.
And I'd taken my shoes off.
Dave kept treading on her dress on that first dance. That was quite funny because he ended up having to hold her sort of 6 feet away. And so it looked a bit awkward.
Trying to dance with somebody at arm's length and who's a munchkin
was
work, really difficult. And we just looked awful, didn't we, really?
Well, our cake was absolutely fantastic. Basically, what we decided to do was to buy Marks and Spencer's cake, fruit cake, and then your mum offered to help out, didn't she?
Yep.
So what she'd done is she'd got 2 fruit cakes and a sponge cake, and I'd bought the cake stand off of eBay, so it was kind of like a tiered cake. And then Dave's sister, who does absolutely fantastic cake decoration. Your mum and your sister got together, didn't they, one day, and they put butterflies on wire and painted they're all in lemon, and painted little black bits on them, and they'd randomly scattered them all over the cake, and they'd put ivy down the cake stand. And with some of the butterflies on wire, they'd attached them, didn't they?
Yep.
And then Dave's brother and his wife, Stephen Carroll, they brought us the most gorgeous cake topper. It's just like a china, plain white cake stand of a couple intertwined, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it was very unique, I thought, and it just worked lovely. And the amount of comments we had on how good the cake looked, and you think it was all done by family. It was beautiful, really beautiful, and I was so proud of what they'd done.
Yeah.
As for the actual day itself, it went really smoothly. There were no hiccups that I know of. There were some funny moments, but in a way that's a really good thing because Sally would have wanted it to go as smoothly as it did, and it really did.
Yeah, the wedding day all did go like clockwork. My wife actually drank a bit too much, and I had to put her to bed at 8:30, so she was probably the worst one. Dave and Sarah are all fine.
We didn't think it was ever going to happen, but by God, it did.
By planning it and being so hyper-organised, not a lot went wrong, and I think it saved us a lot of money as well, to be honest.
Nothing went wrong.
No.
Oh, what are my favourite moments from that day? I think are getting the speeches out of the way, and all without any problems whatsoever. They all went down well, every single one. That was fantastic. Obviously, the ceremony itself was brilliant. Nothing went wrong. I think it's more the fact that nothing went wrong was the best bit about the day. Seeing Dave and Sally have their first dance was obviously a good memory, and just having this place where all friends are kind of together. We don't often get the opportunity to do that, as we've all got families now and stuff. So seeing all our kind of close group of friends all in the same place and having a drink and a good time was probably the best bit as well.
It was nice to see Dave and Sally get married in the church. It was just lovely just to see them have a great day. They really enjoyed it. They made a point of, right, this is our wedding day, once in a lifetime. We're going to go out and really enjoy this, and everybody else really enjoyed it as well.
I don't know that I could really pick any moment out as being the best moment, but as the day went through, I loved being here in the morning and the build up to the wedding. The actual wedding itself, where they made their vows, was really heartfelt, and I really, sometimes you go to a wedding, you don't know the people that well, and it's all a bit, let's just move on to the reception. But on this wedding, I wanted to see them married. But, that was the big part for me, was to actually see them get married.
I would completely tell people to relax, and I know it's easier said than done, but your adrenaline does take over, and I think as long as you've got, measures to trying to capture the day, like photographs or a video company. We put little disposable cameras on all the tables so that we had random snapshots as well to capture certain parts of it. No bride and groom will ever remember the ins and outs of everything to do with their wedding day. They really won't. So the more you relax, the more you actually will take in.
And it's your wedding day.
It's the biggest
Enjoy
party
it.
you're ever going to throw.
Don't mess around.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
crack on. You've done all the hard work by planning it. You've spent however many months, years, whatever, making sure that everything's in place ready. Just when the day comes, you can't do anything more. Just go and enjoy it.
You
Have a
really
ball.
can't do
Definitely.
anything about it at all.
You regret it if you don't.
Completely. For me, I can certainly sit there and say it was the best day of my life. Now, I could sit there and say my son being born was the best day of my life, but actually that was the most painful day of my life.
Yeah.
Okay? So although, yes, it was very good that he was born and he was, lovely and healthy and everything, it was a very painful day. But my wedding day, and the thing is, because I've got my son and he was our page boy, and he was a star role in it, he completed our day, didn't he?
Yeah, we've had him at our wedding.
We've had him at our wedding at an age where he can remember it, and he still talks about it. And he
does.
absolutely...
He loves the video.
He always sits there and goes, Mum, can you put the wedding video on? Even now.
I remember from the video that I was standing there with Steph and all the boys, and he was with me.
On the little rings?
Yeah, in the little rings, and then he fell over one of the graveyards.
So he fell over a stone
Gravestones.
over there. Wow.
Mad, isn't it?
I remember getting here and then having to stand at the door over there and the vicar meeting me, telling me I was early.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's when I started feeling a bit nervous, and I said to my dad, just tell me a joke.
Yeah.
Tell me a joke. He told me a joke, and that was it, my nerves were gone. But,
Yeah.
And it was a hot day.
It was lovely.
Really nice hot day.
That was the summer of England. It was in May, and that was it.
Yeah. Fab. All these people that were here.
Yeah.
And again. Whee! Good boy.
Walking the way I walked in.
Yeah. I didn't even walk out this way, did we?
No, didn't walk out this way. I got fairings.
Wow. This brings it back.
It does, doesn't it?
God, just to think, last time I came in here was our wedding day. Loads of people, all our flowers. You treading on my dress.
Me treading on the dress.
Yeah.
Me standing there, very nervous,
Yeah.
waiting.
It's cool. I could do it all again. With you, though. I liked that walk, though. I liked this walk,
Did you?
even though I did do it a little bit too fast. And then we walked out there, didn't we? Walked up and round.
Yeah, we couldn't decide whether we should both go one side or split up.
Split up, yeah, and go round it.
But friends and that came out this way and then met us back down there.
Didn't we have a photo here?
Yes.
By the archway?
Yes.
I think I remember that being quite important, that I'd asked for that.
Then we had the big walk
Yeah, when they lined everyone up here, wasn't it?
with Nans and...
Yeah. And everyone had to cheer and clap, and
Yeah.
we walked down, and then they'd done all the confetti, didn't they? All at the end. Yeah.
Madness. It does seem like ages ago. Last day of summer.
Didn't you have all your photos out here with the
photos are
rings
done.
and all the ushers?
Yeah. We all walked up there and then had pictures done there. And then the vicar called me in.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, to have a little chat, make sure that all was well. And that's when panic started. I was all right up to that
Steph had
point.
the rings.
Steph had the rings.
You had a photo done with the rings, didn't you, Finn? Yeah. And I remember I just walked up here. I was with my dad.
Yeah.
And we kind of walked along to the door over there. And I was a bit edgy at that time. But the vicar, I think I impressed him because I was early.
Yes.
And he's stickler for time, so I was in his good books. So that was good. But yeah, loads of people. All that confetti.
Yeah.
Mind you, that had to be done down there, didn't that?
Yeah, we weren't allowed confetti.
We weren't allowed it up here. No. But I got all my good luck charms here. And your nan was here, wasn't she? And my
Yeah.
nan, bless them. It was lovely. I want to do it again.
Yeah.
They have a rosy future ahead of them. They're sorted, you know. I know they did it round the wrong way, but they've got their house, they've got their beautiful son, they've got each other. What else do they need?
They're so close, and what with Finley as well. They'll grow old together, definitely.
I can see him being very happy for a very long time.
Our future is just
Smelling
Staying-
the roses.
staying happy, having fun, and holidays and doing the house.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.